The Awakening of James Carter by Xavier Scott. Chapter 1, Just Another Day. The call center, a world on the brink. The headset pinched slightly against James's ear as he leaned back in his chair, absently clicking through the same customer service script he'd used 1,000 times before. "Thank you for calling," he said flatly. "How can I assist you today?" The customer on the other end launched into a long-winded complaint. Something about a billing error, maybe, or a service disruption. James barely listened. His fingers hovered over the Escalate to Supervisor button on his screen, already prepared to pass the problem off to someone else. It was a slow Friday afternoon at the call center, the kind where time crawled by. Only 2 more hours until the weekend. From the next cubicle over, he could hear Derek, one of the newer hires, mumbling under his breath. "Dude, this is insane." James glanced over, half interested. Derek had his phone propped up against his keyboard, scrolling through the news. On screen, a breaking headline flashed, "Terrorist attacks in multiple U.S. cities." James sighed and turned back to his screen. The world always felt like it was ending these days. "Anything interesting?" he asked, more out of politeness than curiosity. "Yeah, actually," Derek muttered. He scrolled further. "Bombings, shootings, it's all over the news." James frowned but didn't engage. That kind of thing happened overseas, not here. Whatever it was, the government would handle it. That's what they were there for. He thought about checking his phone, maybe skimming a few headlines, maybe even sending his mom a text, just in case. But then the fire alarm blared, a shrill, ear-piercing wail that drowned out everything else. A robotic voice followed over the PA system. "Attention, please evacuate the building. This is not a drill." The fire alarm, a false warning. For a moment there was silence. James felt it like a weight, a second of stillness where no one moved, where everyone just waited to see if it was real. Then, like a machine clicking back into place, the office sprang to life, grumbling, chairs scraping, headsets dropping onto desks. "Bet it's just some idiot burning popcorn," someone muttered as they joined the slow shuffle toward the exit. James pulled off his headset and followed the flow of coworkers toward the stairwell. As they pushed through the double doors and into the parking lot, the late afternoon sun felt weirdly bright, too normal for a moment that felt off. People stood around in scattered groups, waiting for someone in charge to tell them what was happening. Derek checked his phone again. "Dude, it's getting worse. They're saying this could be coordinated, like real coordinated." Lisa, the shift supervisor, scoffed. "It's the media. They love scaring people. This isn't a big deal." Someone else laughed. "What if this is part of the attack?" A couple of people chuckled, but James didn't. It wasn't like he was worried. It was just something about the moment felt wrong. The fire alarm, the news, the way the sun felt too bright, the sky too clear. He thought again about texting his mom. Just a quick, "Hey, you guys good?" Instead, he slid his phone into his pocket. It was probably nothing. Maybe later. In the bar, a normal night until it isn't. The neon open sign buzzed faintly against the bar window as James stepped inside. The place was familiar. Dim lighting, the sharp clack of pool balls, the hum of conversation blending with the low murmur of the TV playing a baseball game. A few coworkers were already at their usual spot, a booth near the back. James slid in next to Derek, who was halfway through a beer, still scrolling his phone. "Dude," Derek muttered, nudging James, "check out that table." James followed his gaze. A group of men sat huddled at the far end of the bar, speaking in a low, unfamiliar language. Their voices were sharp, clipped, not like casual conversation. The scarred man sat among them, his burned face twisted into something inhuman, almost like a permanent grin. "I bet they're terrorists," Derek whispered. Lisa rolled her eyes. "Jesus, Derek, do you have a single thought that isn't racist?" Derek put up his hands. "I'm just saying. Look at them." James didn't say anything. He wasn't sure what it was, the way they sat so close together, murmuring like they were sharing a secret, or the way the scarred man's eyes kept flicking toward the door. But something about them wasn't right. "Stop it. You're just being paranoid." He stood. "Gonna hit the bathroom." The scarred man. Silent intimidation. As James stepped out of the restroom, he walked right into someone's chest, solid, unmoving. The scarred man. James froze. Up close, the burns were even worse. Skin melted into hard ridges, one eyelid permanently pulled downward. The man smelled like sweat and gasoline. James swallowed. Sorry, man. The scarred man didn't move. He just stared, his single good eye locked on James, unblinking, daring him to say something. James lowered his gaze and stepped around him. He didn't breathe again until he reached the table. The breaking point. James's terror and escape. Lisa's voice was barely above a whisper. Someone should do something. Derek turned to James. Dude, you should do something. James' stomach clenched so hard he thought he might throw up. His brain froze, but his body felt like it was on fire. Me? Number? No, no, no. It wasn't just fear. It was something deeper, something primal. The idea that he had any responsibility in this was like being thrown into deep water without knowing how to swim. He felt the waitress's arm being crushed in his own wrist, the way her bones might shift under the pressure. He felt the sting of glass slicing across his own face, the hot rush of blood pouring down. His lungs wouldn't expand, his chest locked up, like he was the one being attacked. The bartender groaned, low and wet, his hands slick with his own blood. The scarred man laughed. James had to get out. His hands shook as he grabbed his coat. His legs felt weak as he stood. Lisa's eyes flicked to him, something unreadable in them. Not disappointment, not anger, just recognition. Like she had expected this. James didn't care. He stumbled toward the door, pushing past people, past the bartender gasping on the floor, past the waitress holding her arm. The cold air hit him like a slap as he stepped outside. He gulped in a breath, then another. His vision blurred at the edges. He wasn't a hero. He wasn't built for this. And if this was what was coming, God help him.